The time is just gone 9:28 as we continue with the broadcast this morning. Now, the next issue that we are raising is of major concern because we've learned about the World Food Program in Afghanistan that is forced to drop 10 million people from life saving assistance. Now, this is of major concern because this is going to deepen the despair and the worry for Afghans, where they're dropping now another 2 million hungry people from food assistance in Afghanistan in September. And this brings the number of people 10 million who are actually cut off from support this year in the country. And we are now joined by Professor Mohammed Khatibi at Salaam University out in Afghanistan. Professor Mohammed Khatibi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome. Professor Mohammed Khatibi, Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Jazakallah khairan so much for joining us now. This is clear that this is a major concern where another 2 million people have now been cut off from food assistance in Afghanistan. Just looking at Afghanistan at this point in time, in terms of food insecurity, the lack of food and starvation, how serious is the situation right now?
First of all, let me greet you and your listeners and thank you for giving us this opportunity and your concern about Afghanistan, a part of Ummah. Really, it is very much of concern that in 1 year, WFP, they cut off assistance to 10 million people, hungry people, those who are dependent on the aid from outside. Of course, our situation in Afghanistan is not very good. It's not improved actually that much. Also, although Alhamdulillah, we have got security and we have got some good development in the last 1.5 years, but still, due to the foreign interference in our affairs, we are still not at the level which we could do with the thing. Especially our banks are not functioning very well due to the our banks reserve money is frozen in American banks, and the banks they do have. So of course that everything that affects the economy of Afghanistan. So the last thing which when we heard the news of WFP's cut off the assistance of million, all is in 2003 is 10 million people they are depriving from that little assistance, which that assistance was not also of something. The international community, they must come forward and they must take part in the development of Afghanistan. Let the people they stand on their own feet, to let them make them dependent on their little rations which they providing for Afghans. That is not a good thing for the future of Afghanistan. Afghan people, they do not like to be dependent on anybody. Even if they die, they prefer that one than being dependent. But the situation is due to the international or to the interference in our affairs. So
Yes.
we hope the international community, they must come forward at this time, which we are almost becoming out of summer and we're going towards the winter, which will be very severe. They must make a decision and they must help Afghanistan with this emergency aid, also with the developing the country. They could help the people with a small projects which they could stand on their feet, like home gardening, home gardens, and these other projects, which the people they could be independent from their monthly aid.
Yes. Also, Professor Mohammed, we all knew that this was going to be very, very difficult for Afghanistan to recover from the occupation that had taken place, the occupying forces, and when the Americans had left Afghanistan, which they left the country in a mess. They left the country in shambles as well. And we knew it was going to be very, very difficult. And outside assistance was going to be necessary. Now, we're talking about obviously the United States of America, we're talking about the World Food Program, but we're also talking about 52 Muslim countries right across the world. There are many wealthy countries as well. And at the end of the day, we are talking about brothers in faith, brothers in Iman, innamal mu'minuna ikhwa. And looking at the Muslim countries, looking at the Muslim response, I'm sure a lot can be done by some of the wealthier Muslim countries to assist the people, particularly the starving people of Afghanistan.
Of course, the Muslim Ummah, Alhamdulillah, always they stood with us in the rich countries. Always they stood with Afghanistan, and now also they have got that. Is not the problem. The strategy is wrong. Everybody they come here to bring some food parcels to distribute. Nobody is coming forward to stand with the Afghan Emirates of Afghanistan, to Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, to help them with the big projects. Like you see the project of the canal of Koshchepa in the north of Afghanistan. It needs support from Afghanistan. At least the new authorities, they are thinking of developing this kind of projects, which would help the people for the long term. But this strategy is with other people. Other people, they come and they, like WFP, for example, we are thankful for their efforts to come to Afghanistan. And I would suggest to them to reduce their admin cost, which comes almost to 50% or more. They could do that and give it to the poor people. And I suggest to the Muslim world also to come in and take part in the developing of projects which makes Afghanistan stand on their own feet. We have got, alhamdulillah, a good capacity of agriculture. That we need to irrigate those things and have, unfortunately, in the last 20 years, the government under the puppet government of Americans, they were very corrupt. Lots of aid came to Afghanistan that went out back to America and to other things. So we have to concentrate on developing the economy of Afghanistan, developing the agriculture sector of Afghanistan and other things. We at one time Afghanistan was a self-sufficient country. Why can't we go to that stage? Of course, the foreign interference in Afghanistan, that makes it worse for us. And I don't know if this WFP is what they are talking is something, or this could be also some kind of political agenda. But anyhow, we suggest the Muslim world, those who stood with us, our Muslim brothers, in the last 40, 45 years, they stood with us like one ummah, which defeated the Soviet Union and defeated the United States with the NATO from Afghanistan. But now they must stand with the reconstruction of Afghanistan. They must come here. Alhamdulillah, the new government also, they have got very nice big projects. Despite that some small things which we hope it could be rectified, the education of female education and some other things. But we as a nation, we need Afghanistan to be developed and stand on its own feet. So we have that potential, inshallah. Now the mining in Afghanistan from all our neighboring countries, China is concentrating. Why the Muslim countries they don't want to come forward and invest in the mining sector, for example? So these are the things we have got the potential, but we need that kind of fight which makes us stand on our own feet. We don't
Well,
need
definitely, Professor Mohammed.
fish. We don't to fish ourselves. We must fish. We must learn that thing to fish and stand on our own feet.
Well, what you say is very true, Professor Mohammed, because when we look at the world and when we look at the world media also, all they are focusing on right now is talking about Afghanistan and about girls' education. But what you are saying is you need to get the infrastructure right. You need to get the country up and running. Now, the world media doesn't talk about that. They don't talk about the hunger of the people. They don't talk about the starvation. They don't talk about the destruction of the infrastructure, because all of that actually needs to to be put into place before we can even start talking about all the infrastructure and the systems to be put into place with regard to education, girls' education, and all the other things to get Afghan society back to normality. And it's actually just said that all we hear over and over again, all you got to do is Google Afghanistan, and all you will hear is about the lack of female education.
Yeah, that is also very important for our people. That we don't ignore it. Everybody, the people, even in the authorities, Taliban themselves, they want that thing to happen. And there are many things, but that would come. They say it's something temporary, and they will work towards opening female education according to the Islamic Sharia or whatever. But we need to concentrate from the international community and the Muslim world. They must concentrate first on bringing Afghanistan on their own feet. But of course, that is another separate issue that also should be, inshallah, we hope that the authorities here, they give enough attention to that issue, which are discussed among the few days back. The OIC delegation was here just for that purpose, to bring the issue of education, female education and female work. And they got some good promises from the government. So inshallah, we hopeful about that. That we don't say is not a problem. That is a big problem. We don't want half of our nation, but even more than half, the female, on one hand, if they move the cradle, on the other hand, they move the world. All these people, they have not come out of nowhere. You had a female mother, female sister, female daughter. All these are part of our country. We are concerned about that also. But on the humanitarian things, we don't want to be criticized, and everything media speaks only of that one issue that you mentioned. We have got other issues to be discussed. Why they don't want to come forward to discuss those other issues? Why they don't ask United States to release our reserve banks money? Why they don't discuss that? Why they don't discuss the issue of recognition of the country, recognition of Emirates of Afghanistan? Why they don't discuss that one? So these are the things one should prioritize everything and put it. Now, with this humanitarian crisis which we have got here, they create, the media actually creates some kind of, make the people worried about the future. Of course, we know, alhamdulillah, inshallah, I tell you, Afghans, they won't die out of hunger. Alhamdulillah, if someone has got offer, thinks, oh, well, we could have one meal a day also is enough. But there are other important issues which should be prioritized in the Muslim world first, and then the international community, they must put on their agenda on their list, and according to that priority, they must come forward to help Afghanistan.
Well, inshallah, Jazakallah khairan so much for that and for your time with us, Professor Muhammad Khatibi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Razik. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a provider of rizq. And we make dua that inshallah the people of Afghanistan will not starve because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to sustain them and to keep them as well. But we make dua that Allah make it easy on each and every one of us and also the people of Afghanistan. Our duas are with you and the nation of Afghanistan. Jazakallah khairan so much for your time this morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
جزاكم الله خيرا. جزاكم الله خيرا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Professor Muhammad Khatibi at Salaam University in Afghanistan with us this morning. Next up, we've got live studio interview. We have got the company of Maulana Bilal Katrada. We're talking about his book, Snacks to Riches, 6 Power Skills to Turn Problems into Opportunities.